Welcome to hole 18 at Sprinkle Valley, one of the hardest holes in the Pro Tour, the hole that broke Kristen Tatar, and today we're going to see just how hard it really is, and does the FPO field need to step up their game. Alright, so when I was here, and I was watching FPO do their throws, the biggest thing I noticed was that, leaving it short. In reality, it's a pretty easy straight shot. You clear the green, and that one's in circle one. Second shot. Technically the third, I threw a guy back his mid-range from here, also landed in the circle. And I think a lot of what FPO is doing was trying to absolutely pin it. And you really don't have to. There's a variety of ways to get to the island. There's danger around the island. But overall, it's a relatively straightforward straight shot. Now, I'm not the best player in the world, but while I was here, I watched people over and over do the exact same thing and expect really different results. But this is a course about course management. And I sat right over there and I watched Sarah Hokum stand right here and do that like 3 times in a row before she changed to an Anheuser and managed to get some sort of a cross. She was also throwing craves, but very different. And I think there's really a variety of ways that you can get on the island here. And I think the failure of FPO was to realize this was a really hard hole and just decided that's what it was. And so you're telling me that a bunch of professional disc golfers didn't come here and spend 30 minutes or so learning how to cross the island, or land on the island, or cross like that. Hopefully I didn't hit my camera. But there's so many shots here that you could do to get yourself in position that it's honestly laughable to me that we think that this is a terrible hole. And so I think the FPO has the opportunity to learn different shots, try new things, and ultimately to become better disc golfers. Now, am I landing infinitely on the green over and over? No, this is also my 3rd time here at Sprinkle Valley. But I think with a little bit of practice and thinking about the shot shape, 150 approach shot into an island green should be easy breezy for someone who drives around in their van and plays disc golf for a living. And so you may not agree with that, but that's the fact of the reality, that you don't see other professional athletes coming up and saying that something is too hard and making excuses. And one of the things that I found especially hilarious was that, thank you, was that Colton Montgomery's van was parked right next to hole 18. And so you walked out to the parking lot, you saw his van with his big logo that said, "Don't get mad, get better." And I think that's ultimately what it comes down to, is that the FPO field needs to learn how to get better, how to improve their game, and ultimately how to drive this sport further.
Even when someone off screen throws you a disc you weren't going to use.
And so in those few throws you just saw, 3 of those are on the island. And I've done it in a variety of different shots. Here's even a thumber for you. Hit the drop zone, but crossed. One of the things that really stuck with me was hearing Sarah Hokum talk the other people on lead card and saying, "Oh, I could do this if I just tried harder." And that the designers just want FPO to try harder. And honestly, I think that's what we all want, is you to try harder. Like, we want to see increased level of competition. We want to see good shots. Watching you shank it into the trees was not good golf. If you're taking it here even, this increases the nose up angle. Have some course management. Take it back a little bit. Now you can throw a lot straighter. And even throwing different shots. And like, it doesn't take crazy stuff. Like, I'm even going to try a few lefties here to get yourself in a good position. That's just barely short, and I'm throwing lefty. There we go, on the island. Hit a tree, one more lefty, then we'll try a few more fun shots. See, I yanked that. But that's a yank shot, whether there's OB or not OB. It's not a good shot. One thing I was asked to try, my friend Josh at Overthrow, who also happens to be my boss, because I work for Overthrow, which is a great transition to, if you're interested in coaching and learning how to improve your form, head over to the Patreon, sign up with me for daily form reviews, or reach out to me at my personal email, was overhand with a flippy disc to get a tight tunnel and a cross. So here you go, Josh. Okay, maybe that wasn't flippy enough. I've got one more that'll work. Apparently, not flippy enough. Oh, it doesn't really work with a putter now, does it? Does a little bit. Gets a spiral, crosses. Honestly, pretty decent. Oh, is that going in? Whew. You get the point. That if you're doing different shots, there's always different options. And so, another thing, I didn't notice a lot of really high angle Anheuser forehands. Not like that, obviously, because that's a yank, but of flexing it over, just gets you across. And honestly, that's easier the further I back up. But Josh was right. That's honestly a pretty easy deal. There's a lot of gaps. There's honestly more gaps than there are trees. I think the moral of this that comes down to is that this is not a poorly designed hole. It's honestly, I think, a very well-designed hole. And that rather than complain about course design, the FBO field had an opportunity to step up, come out and practice, and learn how to get better, instead of getting mad. And look, I understand the irony in a guy talking, throwing, and missing the island most of the time, and crossing a decent bit of the time. But that was my practice. And so, failure in practice is something that makes you better. For instance, in that episode, I learned that I think the putter turnover is the best shot for me, and that I want to be just back here. And so now I'm going to try to just lock in and throw some good shots, and hope you guys enjoy. Sounded good. That one's not as flippy. Bit of headwind. That's not as flippy as I remember. Yanked. I looked at it. Too low. Yep. Oh, that new one's pretty stable. well, that's it. Honestly, my percentages seem pretty good. See you next time. Tell me in the comments, is this really a hard hole? Or do they need to step up? See you next time.